Namaste and a very warm welcome to yet another episode on The Wookie. Today we have with us Dr. Joseph K. Thomas, who, with his latest release, Israel-Palestine War, Give Peace a Chance, offers a comprehensive analysis of one of the most complex and the oldest conflicts affecting the world. Dr. Thomas's new release is a well-researched and deeply nuanced book, providing a comprehensive overview from the very beginning of the Israel-Palestine conflict to the point when Israel was invaded by Hamas on October 7th, 2023. Dr. Joseph K. Thomas is an army veteran, a corporate leader, an educationist, a social entrepreneur, and an author, bringing together his experience and expertise from multiple domains. So to begin with, Dr. Thomas, the first question which I would like to ask you is, how do you see the very beginnings of this conflict between Israel and Palestine? And I would like you to walk us through the historical background of it all, because not many people are aware of that fact.
Hi, Sonakshi. Thank you for having me. And it's a fantastic question because today it's for general public. There's a couple of war going on, and Israel-Palestine is one ongoing war. But it's important to put the perspective. At least I want to take you back to at least 2,000 years back to really to understand what is this Israel is all about, and the Palestine, and at least the root cause where we are standing today. All right. So at least good thing about the whole Israel issue, because as Christians, people who went through Bible, all these names and everything is very, very familiar. Even in the Old Testament, even the New Testament, and God calls Israel as a promised land, and so Israelites as my people, and Christianity is also a subsect of Jewish because Jesus was a Jew. All right. So that means there's a clear evidence of this whatever the story. It's not like any other mythology. It's real. Number one. Number two, let me take you back to 17th century BC at least, to give you, and I think, as they say, following the word of God, the Abraham and Jacob, they are kind of patriarch of Jewish people of that time, and they used to stay in a place called Canaan, which is nothing but today's Israel. All right. And Israel, West Bank, Jordan, Syria, all this is part of the reference already in the Bible. So these regional leaders to call this Israel as a promised land, or also you can say it's a holy land, because remember, there's three religions. There's three monotheist religions of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. It's all started here. There's no place in the world you can say that all three religions this a bonnet of this place, and there's so much of history behind. So what happened when again 1,000 years back, King Saul was established this whole thing he called Israel kingdom, right? And his son was Solomon, the one who built the first temple in Jerusalem. And again, you can literally see that one. So after the death of Solomon, then they actually got split into north. The Israel of north was, as a kingdom, is called like Samaria. Then the south is called Judah. Judah is, and today's Palestine is nothing but Judah, which is the kingdom as a capital as Jerusalem. So I think this up to here it's clear, because it's clearly reference is already showing. Then you can see, so that's where the conquest of, I think that was strong. Roman Empire is very, very powerful empire, Roman Empire. They used to conquer the world. They used to attack this place, in Middle East especially, because the Roman Empire cannot stand Jewish people. I think, and they attacked this place, and they want to throw out this Jewish from that place and cut off the connection even from the Jewish land. And that's so the place called Judah was called as Palestine for the first time by Roman Empire from that time. Okay, so that's where the beginning of the Palestine starts now. So then you also see that at the same time is Christianity started. Again, I said it's a subsect of Jewish, and Christianity grew and expanded to the world's one of the very powerful religion at the same time. So you can see from the 16th century till the First World War, let's say. So after Christianity grew, then the Roman Empire, this end of Roman Empire stages. The next empire, you can call the Ottoman Empire, which is started in 16th century, and most of this place was already under the Ottoman Empire, including this place. So from 16th century till World War One, and that's where after the World War One, and they lost, and that's end of Ottoman Empire. So the turning point is I'm just from 2000 years, I'm just back to 100 years now. So let's say from after World War One, League of Nations, because United Nations were not there, League of Nations decided to split this place into two states, one for Jewish state, one for Arab state, and kept the Jerusalem under their control because they're given to British people. So they carved out some places, you just imagine at the same time. So from an Indian perspective, when British were in India, British were also a colony of same time in Israel, the Middle East, same time. And so British people, what they did, they gave independence to Iran and now Jordan and other places. And they kept part of Israel under them. Then they decided to establish a Jewish state inside the Palestine that is called Balfour Declarations of 1917, because this is just a 767 word one document states about we are going to establish Jewish national homeland in Palestine, but they promised there's no status change in the life of existing people. Whoever is staying there, no problem at all. Because James Anderson Balfour was the British Foreign Secretary, and his instrument is 100 years. Then you can just go back to 1948, right? 1947, typically. India got independence, 47, and United Nations born after the World War II. The United Nations decided to, again, now to solve this problem, they step in, they solve the problem. Again, they also said, okay, we do two-state solutions with Israel for Jewish and Palestinian state, then last one for Jerusalem. And the same time, after independence of India, it's 1948, Israel I don't say it's got independent, they declared independent after 1948. And they almost, you can say they captured more places than what the United Nations agreed upon. So that's a turning point. And because of this one, these actions of Israel, millions of Palestinians staying there from ancient time, they have to leave the refugee camps and they fled. Okay, so this is the turning point after 1948. So then started, but nobody was happy because Palestine was not happy because of Israel actions. Though the Arab nations, including Egypt, Jordan, Syria, they all came together and fought against Israel. They captured West Bank, they captured the part of Gaza Strip, and they kept east of Jerusalem with them. Then 1967, they called Six-Day War, when Iran suddenly attacked and all these places. All these Arab nations kind of relaxed, or they thought, okay, this is our land. And Israel captured, just in 6 days, they captured all the places in the same time, and they destroyed, and they took over the Goliath Height, then the West Bank from them, Gaza Strip. So 67 is another turning point when Israel really, really extended and captured this whole Palestinian place. And the bone of contention for this whole wall is Gaza Strip and West Bank. These are the two issues between Israel and Palestine. And so again, it didn't stop afterward. The whole thing is called catastrophe, or they call it Al-Nakba, which is one of the turning point of this whole history of Israel-Palestine. And off late, I want to just bring you up to the latest, because then one of the important factor was Oslo Accord, because it's very important to let you know why peace is possible, because Rabin, after Prime Minister of Israel, and Yasser Arafat, I'm sure you must be knowing Yasser Arafat of Palestinian Liberation Organization, and they pulled up by the US, they called to Washington, Norway intervened, and they signed Oslo Accord in 1990, which is one of the great effort by US, and that continued for a long time. But again, usual, didn't stop anything, because the greed of people or you can say the ego of the leaders is the real reason for what the sufferings today. Either it doesn't matter whether it's Israel suffering or Palestine suffering. For me, it's a human suffering. The children and the women and the pregnant are in refugee camps without food and water. Forget about it. Doesn't matter who is right or is wrong. But no human being should go through what people are going through. Israel is also equally suffered of October attack, and they captured. They're enjoying a music festival, right? And what Hamas did is highly condemnable. They attacked They attacked and killed thousands of people, Jewish Israelites. They also captured more than 200 people. Even after 6 months, more than 50% of people are captured still under the control of Hamas. And so this 2000 years till today, nothing is changed. It's getting worse day by day, and nothing has changed.
Okay. So, what all, according to you, are the ramifications of this particular conflict, apart from obviously the human toll that it is taking?
Absolutely. So one is I just mentioned because it's very disturbing to see what's going on, especially with the recent numbers shows almost 40,000 people killed, more than 1 lakh are injured, and more than 3 million people are homeless. I think no one should go through this suffering and pain, because children are now the people are coming out of these war zones or these refugee camps. Just imagine their psychological mindset, because they are going to be the future generations, and what they go through, what the women suffered during this pregnancy, and that will have directly impact on the children's life in the future. And what they hear, what they see, it's very difficult to change this whole DNA from the people who are suffering under this one. Doesn't matter which country, which people, number one. So I also say now talk about, because people are thinking this is somebody is winning, somebody is losing. Because I've been to Israel many times. Okay, I used to be a big fan of Israel because of a lot of their security measures, the army, and even I see high school children going to the school with one bag in the hand and the weapon in the hand, because this training is part of their curriculum. And Israel is also one country where you see the peon to the prime minister or clerk to a collector, they're all soldiers. Everybody is a soldier, because it's compulsory. If it's an able body, you have to be compulsory in respect of gender. Everyone should serve thing. And I understand the psychology behind, because they are surrounded by 7 hostile neighbors, and Israel is one small element in the center. And no wonder you always see anything happens, Israel goes with a tanker first, not with a gun. Like, unless every place there's a war, people go with a gun, so just go and do march. Israel march with the tanker, because that's how the drill is all about. And I also experienced how they implement the security measures, right? So even in the queue for an immigration and security measures, one queue for everyone. Doesn't matter. There's no VIP culture at all. And I still remember there are 4 people from cyclists from UK was in front of us when we are crossing, and they had to dismantle the cycle, entire thing, then put to the mission, because cycle cannot go to the mission. And we had to wait almost 1 hour. But there's no hurry. There's no because that's strictly they follow this procedure. But after October 7th, what happened? I was really surprised, because I know, because every other buildings in Israel or what are underground bunkers, where there's a siren, everyone by default goes underneath the bunker, because that's how the drill, including school, in shopping mall, everywhere. And this is called Iron Dome systems. One of the sophisticated technology they have. It can track, and I can also it's going to give an example of anytime. It's got a kind of a radar. If somebody fires a rocket or missiles, within seconds it recognizes, tracks, and also reply back, and they shoot down whatever is coming. Just to give you kind of a lighter note, right now, this Ramayana Mahabharata serial, the 2 sides coming this bow and arrow kind of thing with the fire, and it comes and meet in the center and destroy. A similar technology because it allow they destroy this thing, whatever coming out thing. So that's only country got so much of technology. But that's an overestimate of Israel's power on the defense side of it. But I'm very surprised after that much of thing, and Israel also got technology in Pegasus, and they can know what's happening in your bedroom, what's happening in your phone. They can literally see. But I was surprised. Okay, you didn't realize what's cooking in your kitchen. They came and actually hit you so bad, and then suddenly, what happened to your Mossad? What happened to your security agencies? They built almost a kilometers length of tunnel underneath under your border, and even the tunnels can also move the vehicles. And they stored more than 5,000 missiles. What happened to your Mossad? We call them one of the best in the world. It's a total failure, or maybe political reasons. So the war is not solving any of this problem because Gaza is unlivable. You can't live anymore. West Bank is completely destroyed. So my point of in the book, what I'm talking about, war is a one side of destruction of thing. Just imagine the other side of the story, right? People's life, people, education, healthcare. Now, even this economy, there's nobody's going to invest in those places. Unemployment rates, and even you can't even buy a simple medicines which is available for the rest of us. For us, how easy to just order on this platform and get food in 15 minutes. Today's thing, these people can't even have a proper meal even for months together. The human suffering, right? The suffering of people on both the side. And also, the biggest factor for me is environment. Just imagine the amount of ammunition they fire and missiles. Imagine the contamination of water and environmental issues. And I think these things can you're going to haunt you for next generations. You cannot change all this. You cannot solve this. People talk about environmental issues and all that pollution. Nobody's talking about the amount of environmental damages and distractions and the catastrophe that created by this war. So this is totally whatever is happening, it's beyond thinkable today.
Okay. So could you also throw some light on the kind of role the media is playing in shaping the paradigm of the people who are watching this conflict from afar?
I think media is unlike those old wars, like World War One and Two. So today's everything is on fingertips, and other than regular electronic media, there's also social medias and everything on the fingertip today. And I feel it's definitely a media always play a two-side of the story. Depends on which side of the story is majoritarianism, which side of is the minorities. And most of, if you really know the world and a typical economy, Jewish are number one in the world in terms of financial, the banking and financials, and the BlackRock of the world, the Vanguard, all these big corporations, $1 trillion assets and all that. Everything is owned or controlled by Jewish people, and Jewish is all over the world. There's a multiple different Jewish altogether. There's a Ashkenazi Jewish, which is also called a European Jewish. There's also an Arab Jewish. Okay, there is a Safara Jewish, which is actually they throw out from Spain and Portugal after this. So Jewish is not just one. This is also like a multiple Jewish inside. And if you really want to talk to another side of the story of Jewish are not happy with what's happening in Israel, because nobody is happy with the current political dispensation, whatever is doing. Your media even call out and say this is just another survival of Benjamin Netanyahu, because the day the war ends and he's gone. So look at another dictatorial mindset of people, authoritarian regime. They want to be in the power, and just because to satisfy their ego of the leadership. And I think millions of people are suffering. Nobody cares about all this, right? And media has also tried to portray the truth side of the story, because some of the pictures, some of whatever you see, it puts anyone to be biased to anyone. As an author, I try to be balanced in this place, because I'm more concerned about the suffering of human rather than a states who is Israel is right or Palestine is wrong or vice versa. But for me, human suffering, I think media should do balanced reporting and universal reporting of and show what's happening on the ground. And you also see this is the only war you see the people in the press, because when you go, you put the press on the chest. Red Cross will wear Red Cross flag. UN will have a United Nations logo on the vehicle, because these are all the measures are clearly written. You cannot attack them. You cannot. They have a clear passage to be anywhere, because press has to be there on either side. But this is the one war. Almost more than 65 journalists already died in this war, because that's also kind of violations and manipulations of this one. United Nations team was also attacked, and one of the colonel from the Indian Army was retired, and he joined UN mission, and he died in this when he crossing the border. Israeli attack is not heard of, because let me also take you back to again. I love this Ramayana Mahabharata story. I always give example of this people. Even during that time, there was no written rules or regulations, but our war starts with the sunrise and war ends with the sunset. Right? This is a wiggle, then it stops. It was not written rules, but those are the unwritten rules they followed, because you need the time for soldiers of both the sides to heal. Now, I think recover or whatever needs to be done. Then the next day, sunrise, the war starts. You see, this is the only war you see, and schools are attacked, hospitals are attacked, and even destroyed. I know that, because intelligence says the terrorists are inside the hospital. Doesn't mean that you're going to bomb this whole hospital. There's so many other ways to get them out. You can flesh them out in multiple ways, because you are one of the best intelligence in the world. You need not destroy the entire hospital, right? And Red Cross was attacked, and these are the things which is absolutely world should condemn. This is not allowed to continue this way, because it doesn't matter whose war is this, but I think nothing is more important than human rights of humans.
Okay, so how do you look at the latest advisory opinion which has been issued by the International Court of Justice, calling Israel's occupation of Palestine quote unquote unlawful, and then of course Israel rejecting the same?
Yeah, it's a very good question, and it's a very, very timely, Sonakshi. And I was very happy when in fact, I went through this whole. In fact, I can say April. I was in Netherlands. I took a picture of this, Hague. I always look up to this place as a judiciary with so much of respect, because a lot of dictators, the so-called dictators, were also punished by this. This is the only organization punished them, and even put them behind bar. Even so many, a lot of people escaped. Even so many are still under the radar, but they also punished many of them, especially the genocide in African countries. And so this judiciary gives you hope. And for me, at least whatever said and done, at least there's somebody to call out and say this is wrong, is illegal. And now you remember, I told you 1967 what Israel did, because after the war, they extended and captured all this territories of Palestine. And even after the Oslo Accord, because it was very clearly mandated to maintain the status quo and not to interfere in either business. And Israel went ahead and built the wall, iron wall on the Gaza Strip and West Bank. So because even when I had been there, because when you cross to regular traffic, when you cross, during your traffic, sometimes you're entering the territory, sometimes you're this side of the world, sometimes you're that side of the world, because this and the army is managing this one. Sometimes it take half an hour to just show your passport to get out. Sometimes if something happened, then you're stuck for the day. It's made the people's life miserable there, either side, both the side. Some of the farmers have to cross the other side to go to farming, but again, they do the immigration to go there. Just imagine the day-to-day life of these people. And that's how they call out and say this is illegal, and excellent job by international court to call out and tell them this one. because Israel is still getting aggressive because today Gaza Strip is gone, West Bank is gone. They almost reached now Lebanon. And now Hamas is, I can say, Hamas is a terrorist organization, but smaller. But next, our target is Hezbollah. Hezbollah is they're really big terrorist organization, and they have a huge backing of Iran. And Iran is sitting on a nuclear equipments and supporting all these organizations because they have to fight against the US. So it's a kind of a ego clash between all these big countries. End of the day, people are suffering, and just I want to call out here and congratulate the International Court of Justice to show the justice and show and tell them it's illegal. So even though Israel didn't agree, or even they also made Benjamin Netanyahu criminal, and because he is also in the list of they can be captured if he lands on an independent middle state somewhere country where International Court of Justice got a jurisdiction, they can even arrest him because they treated him as a criminal for his genocide as a criminal of war crime. So hopefully now that US support is reduced to Israel because Israel want to attack Lebanon, and now so International Court of Justice also call a spade a spade. So hopefully he will calm down, or he will reduce his aggression at least for now, because getting into Hezbollah, that means you're getting into World War III. Let me tell you, Hamas is nothing. Getting into Hezbollah and Iran, that means you're playing with nuclear weapon. So just imagine after World War II, just imagine what happened to Hiroshima and Nagasaki. That's 75 years back. And just imagine the destruction and the damage is done. So today, after 75 years, look, imagine the kind of nuclear weapons people are holding. It's not going to be between Iran and Israel. It's going to be, I can say, 1/3 of the world can be destroyed if at all somebody is going to press the button. That's my concern. And I want to call out and say United Nations and I think, at least stand up and just call out, and you have a job to do. That's what you're there. And so you don't get succumbed to these big players. I think they should call out and also condemn the violence, condemn the aggression. And they had to bring people to peace. Somebody had to push them to the peace, force them to the peace, start with ceasefire, come to the table, discuss. Because Oslo Accord, this framework is already there. Don't reinvent the wheel. The peace process is already there. The framework is there. It's a question of now bring them to the table and agree to the conditions, and don't let them do whatever they want to feel like doing. And because world cannot take World War III, Sonakshi. That's not you want to leave behind for the next generation.
That's very true. So lastly and most importantly, what I would like to ask you is, how achievable do you think is peace between Israel and Palestine?
That's a very good question. That's my subtitle of the book. And this one, I think, I just want to show I'm an eternal optimist of the peace in the world. Because there are so many examples of even the worst case in the war. People are ready to compromise. They have a courage to come on the table and ready to sign up. Best example is Germany, the East Germany and West Germany, right? It was not something small. East Germany was totally controlled by Russia, and too much of influence on Russian. And just imagine after the 39 Holocaust and Nazi Germany's thing, now almost 6 million Jewish were, I think, they burned to death or on the concentration camps. So they have to. That's why I told the multiple Jewish in the world, and they spread across, and this whole Zionist movement of, especially for the European people, because after this one, and they're more radical in their thought process, and that's how when the two radicals come together, it makes it more difficult, because somebody has to compromise. Somebody person, somebody has. It's very difficult to say sorry, right? Somebody has to come forward to the handshake, because these players will not do it. You have to bring this big players to the table involve you and bring them at the table, and they have to do it, because the day even the war is ongoing, even for that matter, Russia-Ukraine war or in Israel-Palestine war, because somebody is supplying an armament, somebody is supplying ammunition, somebody is supplying missiles. So that's why this is going. So what happened? Because this is not kind of a support for a good cause, a bad cause. This is a huge billion-dollar industry of business, and these big guys, they need this business because of after Russian war, because of the fuel was the biggest goal for them, and now and always the war is always opportunity for big guys to sell more and more. And you remember almost 500 billion worth of defense support Ukraine, and almost 100 billion worth of funds issued to the Israel. I think big guys has to start supporting and pumping this defense equipments anymore, because if you are Israel by per se as a state, they don't have ammunition to fight. So they don't, even ego is higher than your ammunitions. There's nothing to fire. So then you have to come to the table. Somebody will force you to come to the table and open the old Oslo agreement, or the two agreements, and bring them to the table. And ultimately, you want to see, because it's not whose land it belongs. For me, this is more than a land fight. It's fight bit for the emotions. Because I think when you travel abroad and come back to India, you feel so much about I'm back in my home. Now that when you're back home, that feeling, that sentiment, that emotion is higher than anything else, right? So, and that's equally important for people of both the sides can coexist, live in peace, and don't interfere in each other's life. That's all it takes. And as long as you mind your own business, don't interfere in others, they can coexist. The two-state is possible. There's nothing, and there's enough data to prove whose land is belong. And so it's more than land. It's technically it's kind of home for the people, and home is an address for everyone. Everyone needs a home. Nobody wants to live like a refugee and die as a refugee in the camps. They need a home to call their home, and home is what people find peace. So give them a home, give them a place. The peace will start, and I'm very, very sure, and we hope and pray that peace is going to come, and somewhere somebody will take this forward and establish peace in the world. Because at least when we born in a peaceful country, peaceful place. I want to leave the same peace for next generations before I leave. At least everyone should start thinking, let's leave the peace for next generation. There is no war.
Dr. Joseph, thank you so much for speaking with us on this topic, and thank you so much for this detailed conversation around the issues related to the Israel-Palestine conflict, because I believe this is something which everybody has their eyes on, but then there are a lot of undiscovered aspects into this issue, and which definitely have certain colossal ramifications on the whole world, not only Israel and Palestine. So thank you so much, Dr. Joseph, for making time to speaking with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sonakshi. I appreciate it. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you. Bye-bye.